reasons. We watched it help heal and help people all over the country. And I really don't have much of an explanation for it outside of really, really hard work and God. It's a God thing. This song was a God thing from the word go. It wrote itself. Once we got it started, it wrote itself. And this song was so special to me for several different reasons. For one, I wrote it with these two guys who I just think the absolute world of and love with all my heart and have for a long time. But there was also, you know, people have touched on it being the truth, and it was. One of the families, actually Jonathan Luton's mom and his sister are here today, and I didn't mention that to anybody because I wanted them to kind of be able to watch and not be bombarded. But I wear a bracelet now every day. John was killed in action on the 15th of October in 2006. One of my best friends from back home, Josh Green, was his war buddy. And I knew when Josh had come home after those two tours, he was a good bit different. But the last time, he was a very, very troubled man. And this is a man I'd known my whole life just to be upbeat and funny. And it just wasn't there. He was lost. And this was back when I was still drinking, and Josh and I had several nights where we just sat around and he told stories and I listened. And I turned a couple of them into songs. I never had the opportunity to meet John. I never knew who he was. All I knew was my best friend had come home and talk about this dude all the time. I was almost like a jealous girlfriend. Like, who the hell is he? But, you know, I do wish with all my heart that I could have met him. But I just want to share a couple things from the families. As far as John's mom and his sister, Andy, we found out they were going to come out to a show. Where was that at? It was Saratoga Springs, New York. And we were actually, it was right after One Hell of an Amen went #1. We were having a little get together at the house, and Josh was there. And I told Josh that you guys were going to be at the show. And my beautiful wife, Amber, was right there with me. Y'all, this is my wife, by the way. She is just everything to me. But Josh was sitting there talking to Amber and he disappeared. And he walked back in and he said, "Hey dude, can I talk to you for a minute?" And I said, "Yeah." We walked in the bedroom and he said, "Man, I know I was taking him on a hunting trip." He said, "I know, you know, I planned this time off to go on this hunting trip." He said, "But I just called off work." He said, "If you don't mind, I really need to do something. If you wouldn't mind me tagging along to New York." And I was like, "Dude, that is perfectly fine. You climb on board and go with us." What I didn't know, and what Josh didn't tell us, was that there was more to the story than even I knew. That happened in 2006. I've watched Josh struggle with substances. I've watched him struggle with his mind. I've watched him struggle with everything imaginable, I think, in his life. And some of you might know what I'm talking about. You know when you know somebody well enough to know that something's on their heart. It's not really on their mind, it's on their heart and it's heavy. But I never could figure out what it was. And we didn't tell these guys that Josh was coming. And Josh was sitting in the back and they walked on the bus and I, you know, introduced my wife. And I said, "Hey, this is Amber." And I was talking to his mom and I said, "And this is Josh Green." And at first it didn't register to her. And then she looked, she was like, "Oh my God." And, you know, there were a lot of tears, a lot of hugs. And what followed that was something that blew my mind, like this song did about 1,000,000 times. But Josh finished the story. John did not have to go out of the wire that day. He never had to leave the wire. When Josh and his company got ready to leave, John grabbed his gun and Josh tried to make him stay because he wasn't infantry. And they argued back and forth to the point where they're both in Humvees shooting each other birds, you know, headed towards Kirkuk City. Josh witnessed every second of what went down. But I saw a young man be able to look into a mother's eyes and tell her that her son was not alone. when he died, that he held his hand every second of the way. One of the things she said was, I just worried that he was alone. And Josh cried and he said he was not alone. I was right there with him. I never left him. Josh is a new man already. He was making strides and making a lot of progress. But after that, he's literally a new man. And that's one more person that your son saved. You know, as far as the Potts are concerned, they wanted to be here today. But just a little story, and I'll try not to take too much of your